Eddie, thanks for jumping on the call, mate. Really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, Guy. I'm stoked to be here.
Mate, so first question is, how did you find out about the Let It In program initially?
Mate, it was totally random. I was just looking for some meditation practice online and was kind of hoping to come across a meditation course and stumbled onto your one. And I think that you were coming up to do something at my gym at Fifth Element. You were just about to do a Let It In, like a one-day seminar. And so I guess that, the universe was conspiring in that way. And I looked you up online through that, found that the course was starting like a couple of weeks later. And a friend of mine had just done it and he loved it. And he's my kind of go-to health guru anyway. So I called him and I asked if he knew of you, and he said, "Oh yeah, I've done it and I'm doing it again." And so I signed right on, and it was great. It was
Wow.
awesome.
Okay, cool. And why were you looking for a meditation course at the time?
Dude, I just had a rough 18 months of not being very kind to myself, especially mentally. And I was putting together all of the physical elements. I'd put on quite a lot of weight and was just physically not very healthy. And the physical was starting to happen, but the mental wasn't catching up. I'm a big believer in sort of kill the body and the head will die. And I just felt like I needed to bring in that other element. I needed to do some healing of my head and of my heart. So having that meditation, these daily meditations, has been mind-blowing and really, really positive. Really, really positive.
Awesome. Did you have any concerns or skepticisms before starting the 4-week Let It In program?
I'd never done an online course before, so I guess I was curious to see how it was going to work. And I'd never, I was one of those people that believed I wasn't going to be able to meditate. So a part of me was kind of a little bit worried that I was just going to be, throwing my cash away and never able to do it. And and as soon as the course started, I mean, the first 5 days was difficult, and then by the second week it was like I was just in the zone, and now I meditate twice a day, so it's great.
Amazing. And how did you find, that's a great point actually, so you were a bit concerned about it being online, the program, but like, were those concerns met? How did you find it once you got going within the 4 weeks?
For me it was way better. I think I have a pretty busy lifestyle, and I work a very physical job. So to be able to have like the morning meditations that are just there in my Dropbox that I just jump on every morning, and then, instead of coming home and watching Netflix, I could just jump on that, and it gave me focus, and it was something that I could do while I ate my dinner. It just fit into the schedule really well. I couldn't imagine doing it any other way. Sometimes finding the time to, I ended up watching videos and stuff, if not every day, every second day. And I've rewatched a lot of them, or I did rewatch a lot of them while I was doing the course. And if I was trying to make it to a venue every day on top of work and the gym and shopping and lifestyle, it would have been difficult. So I love it. I'm a huge believer in online courses. Why not? It's 2018. That's what the internet's there for.
What was your biggest take home from the 4 weeks?
I think to be kinder to my own heart, that I can meditate, that anybody can meditate. And also I think just a whole bunch of information. A lot of it was about my heart space, tapping into my heart space and intuition and stuff like that. You kind of, when you start doing a meditation course, you expect to be maybe like, in a couple of weeks you're wearing an orange gown and painting your feet black or something, and levitating and all of that kind of stuff. But it was very different to that, and I thought it was going to be much more of a mental exercise, but it turned out to be much more of a heart space exercise.
Great. And did you have any expectations or hope for an outcome after the 4 weeks? And did it meet them in any way?
You know, Guy, thinking back, I'm sure I did. But you know, I just wanted to introduce a daily meditation practice, but it's been so much more than that. You know, I get so much strength from the community that's still going on around the Let It In program. You know, I'm going to be redoing the course in a couple of weeks on May 14th. But, you know, everybody that was a part of that course, there's a lot of people that are very active in posting live videos on the Facebook site, which can be a very daunting thing to do, I think, for anybody. Public speaking and all of that stuff is daunting. So I draw a lot of strength from the community, and I also sort of got tapped into a lot of knowledge, you know, this wealth of knowledge that I didn't expect to be looking into. And, you know, now we're doing the book club with Lynn McTaggart and The Power of Eight, and I'm very interested in Joe Dispenza, and I was already kind of looking into Wim Hof, but I'm kind of taking that further now. And it's just been the perfect addition to this puzzle of kind of, you know, getting everything together moving forward.
Yeah, beautiful. And because you signed up to continue as an ongoing member, which is wonderful. What were your, because just for people watching this, we have started doing group intentions where we log into Zoom, and we're doing them at the moment once every 2 to 3 weeks. What was your thoughts before doing the first group intention? Like,
well, I was really lucky that I had listened to your Lynn McTaggart podcast on the Guy Lawrence podcasts.
yeah.
Just before we started doing those group intentions. And so I was really intrigued by that. And I thought that was a beauty podcast, by the way. That was a really good one. Really, really great info in that one. And so the first group intention experiment was really, really interesting. But I mean, what happened for me was I had a friend that was in a motorcycle accident, and I actually ended up running my own intention experiments, and that was very powerful, you know, and that brought me together with a lot of people that were on the other side of the world. And we had people in Peru and in Indonesia and in the Philippines and in the United States and in Canada and all over Australia, all over the world, getting together at the same time. So I sort of jumped head first right into one and started running my own ones, and they were pretty. It was a pretty sort of, you know, Band-Aid sort of thrown together experiment, but it was lovely. It was really, really great.
Yeah. And as I'm interested to, because for some people that not even heard of group intentions, it might seem very skeptical, woo,
yeah,
field. You're right, which is totally fine too. You know, because I've been looking at this work a long time, and just for anyone, Lynn McTaggart is someone I interviewed who has been researching intention and doing science experiments with universities and scientists for the last 15 years. You know, and I highly recommend her work. What did you feel personally when you were received? Because you were received an intention one night. So as a group, we all sent intention, and from like, how did it feel? Like,
oh man,
energy, like talk us.
I've been trying to describe it to other people for a long time. Well, not for a long time, I guess, but for the last week, because it happened about a week ago today. The only word that I can think of that accurately describes it is supernatural. And I know that sounds, I mean, that's just not something I would have ever said, you know, but it felt really, really tangible and powerful. And it's hard to even talk about it without getting emotional, because I think it was emotional for everybody, you know, everybody involved had a really powerful experience. I mean, do you want me to start from the beginning? Should we talk through how it all went down, or
yeah, just talk through. Yeah, just a couple of minutes. Share a little bit what's coming to mind.
So it starts off with you talking through, you know, about 10 minutes of listening to some music and practicing some gratitude, thinking of 2 people in your life that you're grateful for, and people that really love you and people that you love. And so that kicked it in straight away. You know, there was no, you know, no easing into the roller coaster, no slowly up. I was straight in there as soon as I closed my eyes and started meditating. And you know, I had these visions of my mum who passed away and another friend who passed away standing over me, and they had their hands on my shoulders, and I was just thinking about people that I love and that I'm grateful for, which is just such a good exercise just in general. You know, practicing gratitude outside of this experiment is something that I've really learned. Another thing that I really picked up from Let It In. And then we shifted gears, and you asked everyone to just focus their attention on me and sending me love. And it was really overwhelming. You know, I really felt my heart space begin to expand, and I can still feel it now, but it was like my ribs were popping out at the sides. It was like every breath that I took, I was filling up like a balloon that could have burst at any time. And my hands went crazy hot, really, really tingly. And I could feel, you know, my heartbeat radiating almost like a sonic boom. You know, every beat felt like it was just projecting itself out into the universe. And then, you know, I was envisioning all of these people that I haven't met before, most of them. I mean, I've got a couple of friends on here, but physically I'd only met 2 of the people of the 30 or so that were part of this intention experiment. But I could really feel everyone's hands on my chest, on my heart. I had visions of, you know, it's hard to explain, but it was almost like one of the dishwashing commercials where there's the grub and the dishwashing tablet comes in and washes all of the filth out and replaces it with like sparkly. Yeah, so I was just getting filled up with a pink glowing light, which seems to be a very healing color for me, pink. And so that was the vision that I was having, and my chest sort of expanding, and all of this, and then it just got to this point where it was too much. The love was so intense, it was so hard to receive that towards the end I sort of, you know, I was so overwhelmed that I had to sort of send a little bit of it back to my dad and to a couple of other people in my life that really needed that love. And the crazy thing was that afterwards we did the interviews. You know, we were probably on the call for another half an hour afterwards, and everybody reported the same thing as me. You know, everybody reported their heart space growing really big, and people reported saying that they envisioned their hands on my chest and my back and their hands holding my heart, and that their hands had got really hot. And that at one point, you know, it was like the connection was lost a little bit, and they started thinking about people that they loved, which I firmly believe is kind of at the point where I was so overwhelmed that I was like, "Oh, I got to send this off to somebody else." You know, it was supernatural. You know, it really was. Everybody had the exact same experience, and we were all on different parts of the world. I don't even know where half of these people live. But I could feel them, you know, I could feel their energy, and I could feel just this radiating love. I mean, and believe me when I say that, you know, if you'd talked to me about this stuff a couple of years ago, I would have thought you were nuts. So,
Thank you for sharing, Eddie. That's wonderful. I really appreciate it, mate. There's 2 things that spring to mind there. One is that intentions are real.
Certainly.
Right. And you felt energy, right? It was like you felt it.
Palpable, tangible, real energy for sure.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, and it's I would compare it to an ayahuasca experience, you know, to drinking the Peruvian medicine ayahuasca, because again, that feels very supernatural. And I've always been a huge advocate for that medicine because it really changed my life. But it's a nerve-wracking, terrifying experience. And a big part of it is intention. And I would say to anyone that's too nervous to do it, do an intention experiment instead, you know, because it's a lot cleaner. It's a lot, you don't have to go to the Amazon either. So you can do it from anywhere. You can do it from anywhere. And it's taught me a lot about just living with intention in my life, you know, which is something that I got from the Let It In course. But, you know, it's like you just keep on unraveling layers of that onion. You know, intention is so powerful, so important in how we live. You really, I think you manifest your destiny through the power of positive thinking, through the power of, you know, you think, therefore you are. And so that's what intention is to me, is just intending something for your life or for somebody else's, you know. And also, what was really great about it was, I think that people can tend to love others more than they love themselves. You know what I mean? You can look after, you can want something for your friends and see the clear path that they have to take to sort out their lives. And you can tell them about that until they're blue in the face, until you're blue in the face, and you can give them the best advice, but you can't do that for yourself, you know, or it's difficult for people to do that for themselves. And so for me, you know, for starters, that intention experiment where I had so many strangers just sending that love and that energy to me, but then also to realize that I had manifested that for myself as well, and that I was deserving of that, you know, because everybody is deserving of that, I think.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
powerful stuff, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. You were there. It was great.
Mate, if you continue to do the work that, you know, it started from Let It In and from the group and everything over the next 12 months, what sort of impact do you think that'll have on you and the direction of your life?
I think that it's already helped me to make a lot of decisions about where I want to go with my life. I mean, that was a big part of when I started looking for, when I stumbled upon the Let It In course. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I think so many people deal with that. And so I just feel like everything's going to be okay. That's kind of my mantra at the moment, you know, everything will be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And so I think that it'll just help me move in the right direction, you know, and it'll just make those sort of daily stresses a lot more easy to handle. It already has. and help me to make myself my best self, which is, you know, that's what everybody deserves.
Yeah. Beautiful. Last question, mate.
Yeah,
what would you say to someone who is sitting on the fence about doing the 4-week program, and then obviously if they want to continue on into afterwards the membership and the intentions and everything else, like what would you say to them?
Well, for starters, like, just do it, you know. It was so cheap compared to, you know, how much money I spent on it is like what I could have spent on a half a night out back when I was, you know, really caning booze and going out heaps, which I don't do so much anymore since I started this course as well. And the 36, you know, at the moment, the group is only $36 a month. You know, I spend $36 a day on Uber. So, you know, so I would say that for starters, it's definitely, if you can, wondering money wise, is it value for money? Absolutely 100%. If you don't think that you can do it, you owe it to yourself to try, because it is really powerful and it works. You know, I often think about this, like a Louis Theroux documentary that I watched once, where he goes to Alcoholics Anonymous. And for some reason, this has always stuck with me, but they all stood around and they held hands and they say this mantra, which is, it works if you work it, so work it because you're worth it. And I think that that's what, you know, that's what meditation is about as well. It really does work if you work it. And it's not about, you've got to want it, you know, you got to get to the gym and you got to lift 200 kilos and all of this kind of stuff. It's about just taking 10 minutes to yourself in the morning and 10 minutes to yourself in the evening, and not looking at your phone. And, you know, I had this crazy social media addiction. I think so many of us do, you know, an eBay addiction, an Amazon addiction, and all of this stuff. And like, the last thing I would look at would be my phone. And it's the first thing I would look at in the morning. And since starting Let It In, I've bought this new alarm clock. I sleep with my phone in another room. the first thing I do is I meditate. I wash my face with some cold water. I meditate. I have a cold shower. I get dressed, and then I look at my phone and I have all of these notifications, and I'm just like, you know, I'll save that until my break at work, until I'm ready to take on, you know, those unnecessary stresses of my day. I mean, if you can't find 10 minutes for yourself to meditate, and then 20 minutes, and that, like, so now I meditate 30 minutes in the morning and usually 20-30 minutes at night, sometimes an hour, sometimes 10 minutes. It's, you know, that's the first thing I do in the morning, and that's the last thing I do before I go to bed. And it's great. And I think that anybody can do this. Anybody can tap into this. You know, we all have this ability inside us to look after ourselves and to look after our hearts. And we're all looking elsewhere. You know, the divine is within you. It's not elsewhere. You know, I don't know who said that, but I like that quote.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, probably Joe Dispenza. But
Yeah.
Beautiful. Eddie, thank you so much for sharing tonight. I really greatly appreciate jumping on the call.
Thanks for having me on. And anyone that's thinking about doing it, 100% worth it. I hope to see you soon in the community. We'll be most welcome.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers, dude.